still trying to get on. I'm on my phone, and I still am looking at Microsoft wanting to convert me to 11. And I keep telling them, no, I'm staying in 10. And it's constant. You got to go to 11. No, no. Uh,
Uh, I think one of the things is divine appointments uh, from the Bible's perspective. Zacchaeus, what kind of a divine appointment was that? You know, I think about that one too. You know, that was a divine appointment. That one was a game, okay, because Zacchaeus got saved that day, I believe, wholeheartedly. But what if he wouldn't have went up that tree? What if Jesus would have went somewhere else? You know, another way. That was set up. Divine appointment. I mean, I believe it wholeheartedly, and I believe it happened just like it was wrote.
yeah, yeah.
I believe when I moved in, or when you moved in across the street from us, it was a divine appointment. Me meeting you, Gerry Otahal, Kenzie Richards. It was a divine appointment. Me meeting you. I believe it. I don't believe these are accidents because
Neither.
it just everything gets connected, you know, and it all come, you know. That's just how I feel about it. I believe the men in my life are the ones that God put there. You know, I do. Divine
But you,
appointments. There's
but
on hold.
yeah, but you have a sensitivity to it, Terry. There's a big difference between going through life oblivious to everything that God's doing in your life and opening your understanding to the reality that, you know, these individuals that are coming in and through my life are contributing to something God wants in my life. And that's Christ likeness.
Well, I'm also a believer that there's certain people on this planet that Gerry Otahal and Kenzie Richard cannot reach, but Terry Steersman can. And there's
That's right.
vice versa. There's people that
That's
you
right.
two can that I can't. And
Yeah.
and it puts the right person in your path for you to get them the gospel. I believe that. I really do.
But if you believe that in that fashion, then if I was to meet one of these people that I would not be able to reach because I'm not lined up right with that, then does that mean that that would not be a divine appointment?
That's pretty good.
So a
Well, you
sower
got
went out to some
Because,
sowed seed, some watered, some planted.
oh, that's
Everything's
right.
a
Oh yeah, yeah, I like it. So you're sowing the seed, but then I might come in and be the reaper that reaps it, right? And leads them on, finishes it off, leads them to Christ. But you started the groundwork, and then maybe I start the groundwork on someone, and then Kenzie catches them next time, and you reap it. Is that where you're going with that, Gerry?
yeah. Let me tell you a story. We were in Brazil, and we went to this house, and they were Christians. We fellowship with these Brazilians, and I mean, this was so far back up our tributary of the Rio Negro. If he would have left us there, I couldn't have found my way back out. And we were there, and this lady said, please, please go down the river here a little bit. They're playing a soccer game, and tell them about Jesus. So we drove down there with the boat. We drove down there, we pulled up and walked up, and these little villages have these soccer fields that they play Brazilian soccer on, and these guys are playing soccer. Well, I walked up to it, and you know, given my background as an alcoholic and a drug addict, I'm very sensitive to that kind of stuff. And so we walk up to the bench where, and these guys are out in the field playing, and there's two empty fifths of vodka laying there on the ground. And immediately I wrote it off. I said, these guys are drunk. They're not going to be open to the gospel. And so we sat and watched them play soccer. And I was sitting there thinking, I wonder how they can really, you know, not getting sick if they drank that much running around like they're running. Well, they stopped because Americanos, and they wanted to come over and talk to us. So I'm sitting there and thinking, well, you know, I'll find a way out of here. Well, Matt, one of the other guys, one of the other Christians were there, was sitting on the bench, and the subject of a referee came up. And I'm looking to get out of there because I wrote him off. And Matt talks about a referee, and he said, you guys all think that it's really important to have a fair judge, don't you?" And they go, "Yeah, it's real important, importante." And Matt said, "Well, what if I told you that you're all going to stand in front of a judge one day, and he's going to judge you on all that you said and all that you did?" And it opened the door, and for the next 15 minutes, they presented the gospel. 4 of the guys came to our church service that night. That taught a real lesson to me. Who are you to judge, Otahal?
Yeah.
That was a divine appointment for me, but it wasn't a divine appointment for those guys playing soccer. Matt did that. That was a divine appointment for me, specifically to. I just got an email from my cousin in Australia. That was a divine appointment for me about prejudging individuals in terms of the gospel. So divine appointments both ways, right?
Yeah, I see it. Absolutely. So he'll use a divine appointment to teach us right there. You just learned a lesson right there.
Yeah, I learned a lesson. Yeah. We got on the boat and recapped, and I said, "You know what? Don't prejudge anybody." And that opened the door for a lot of people, because you're working with grinding poverty, and you think some of these people just can't get it, and that's not the truth. Everybody's open to the truth of the gospel.
My name is Jeremy Stolniker. I'm the CEO of the Mighty Oaks Foundation, and I'm here with my pastor, Steve Chappell, who is the pastor of Coastline Baptist Church here in Oceanside, California. And we are here today to tell you about our new book, Offensive Faith.
In the Old Testament, the psalmist asked the rhetorical question, if the foundations be destroyed, what are the righteous to do? And it seems like we're living in a time when the foundations are being destroyed in a lot of different ways. Here's the great news. God has given us incredible insight in His Word that can not only encourage us to hold on in times like these, but to help us to move forward by faith.
And I think our goal in this book and what we hope for you, once you pick it up and you read it, is that you will be encouraged and equipped to go on the offense with your faith in a world that seems so often out of control. Order your copy of Offensive Faith today on Amazon.com.
Get smoked by J-Pound.
Before you rush, you need to flush. What? What I mean is, before you start your normal daily routine, wake up to a tall drink of water. That first glass will help flush out whatever toxins that settled in overnight and wakes up your organs. It's also better than a cup of coffee to shake off grogginess and get you energized right off the bat. Help kick your metabolism into gear and start the day hydrated. And while we're on the subject, starting the day with a glass of water also helps you feel full so you won't rush to the donuts as soon as you step inside the office. Stay hydrated, stay healthy, and remember, there can't be smoke without fire, so let's light it up.
Go to Smoke Show Fitness on Facebook or contact Smoke Show Fitness for personalized nutrition and fitness coaching. 405-240-1807.
We remind all of our listeners that the views and opinions of the show hosts and guests appearing on Mojo 50 Radio are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Cuddle Me Buff LLC, its owners and partners, or this network. Thank you for listening to Mojo 50 Radio.
So what all other questions did you come up with, Kenzie, for divine appointment?
Well, I'm still working past the idea because apparently my understanding might have been a little bit different than your all's ones, Bear, because with most other terms and everything that you got, if you're given a good working definition of it, you can look at something and based off of the description of the definition, the application of it there, you can tell whether it is or is not. But after talking with you all, it sounds like that virtually everything is. So what discernment would there be needed then, or what at that point, what's the point of having a working definition? Because if everything is essentially a divine appointment, then we're just accepting that as is. My impression of what a divine appointment would be the most basic that I could come up with at the time whenever I was starting to look into this would be some sort of event that God intentionally wanted to make sure happen for the benefit of some other individual. And that would fit along with the conviction of somebody, the invitation to the faith of Christ, to Jesus. But if we have free will and everything is a divine appointment at that point, it starts to get a little bit difficulty to, I guess you could say, mentally sort that out. Or am I wrong? Because
no, I think that's right on the money.
Because I feel like divine appointment oftentimes is an overused term. I am definitely on board with jumping on any opportunity or something like that. But from my view and from my research, a divine appointment is something that is set there in my day on purpose for me to have to deal with. It's not necessarily it may or may not be the opportunity that I grab onto. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess a divine appointment could not occur unless a Christian was involved in it.
No.
How then could it be?
A divine appointment would not occur unless God had his finger on there to make sure that was going to be come up to and have to happen.
That sounds Calvinistic. Am I wrong? I mean, help me out here. It's a pretty heavy subject here, you know.
All right, let me ask you this, Terry. Could somebody come to know who Jesus Christ is independent of any Christian witness?
Absolutely, with the Bible. Otherwise, okay. Bibles. You agree with that? I mean,
that would be hard. That would be hard to argue, Terry, because even whenever Christ asked the disciples himself, and one of them told him that he is Christ, the living God, Jesus told himself how blessed he was because it wasn't him that had that knowledge, but it was God that revealed it to him.
That's right.
Well, yeah, but can we not get convicted just by reading the Bible? I mean, I think of the story of Walid Shabat. You know who Walid Shabat is? That oh my goodness, he was that Islamic terrorist, and now he's on fire for Christ. And he's just amazing. But he got it from reading the Bible while he was over in the Middle East. And I'm pretty sure that was his story because I've watched a lot of stuff he said, and he got saved himself by reading the Bible. You know, are we saying that you can't just read the Bible and get saved?
There's a lot of Muslims coming to faith in Christ through visions.
Yes, and that's not even having the Bible on hand on them.
Yeah, I had a book on that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them don't have access to a Bible, yet they are having these visions.
So in that context, that's your definition, Kinsey. That's your definition right there. A guided event that an individual participates in, independent of a Christian witness.
Well, I'd say if they got saved with just seeing Christ or however they done it, because I've read some of the stories too on how they actually heard Christ talk to them. Believe it or not, they were going to die if they took him, and if they didn't, and they were willing to die for it. So I have to take it for face value that they really heard them.
Right. Now, the reason that I don't think my definition is Calvinistic is because the event that is being set is not the person's acceptance. It's the interaction that's determined, not the results.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting at, because I mean, if we're under the idea that everything is a divine appointment and everything happens the way that it has to, then that means that we have